Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into something I know a lot of you are interested in: mindset and success.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating topic.
It is, and we get a lot of requests to cover it, and you sent in this great podcast episode all about it, so we're going to break it down together and hopefully give you some real actionable stuff you can take away from it.
Absolutely. We're going to move beyond just the abstract and give you some concrete tools to actually shift your mindset and achieve those goals.
Yeah, and I think, we've all been there where we've fallen into this trap of thinking like, oh, if I just adopt that perfect morning routine, success will magically appear, right?
Right, yeah.
But this podcast episode really challenges that, doesn't it?
It totally does. It argues that discipline it's not about just like ticking off habits on a checklist, It's about developing that mental strength to tackle the challenges that come with pursuing any goal that's worthwhile.
Yeah, and it feels like today, everywhere you turn, there's something trying to grab your attention, right? Social media, streaming services, all the emails. How do we even begin to reclaim control in this world of distractions?
That's a great question. And that's where I think this idea of positive self-deception comes in.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
And I think at first glance, it sounds a little counterintuitive.
It does.
But they're not talking about denying reality or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
It's more about actively shaping your perceptions.
Exactly. Think about it like, it's not necessarily about ignoring the facts. It's about choosing which facts to focus on. So it's about shaping your perception of reality to help you achieve your goal.
Yeah, and they had this really relatable example about public speaking.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine you're terrified of public speaking, but you make that conscious effort to act confident, even if you're your knees are knocking.
Yeah.
What they're saying is over time, that repeated action actually rewires your brain
Interesting.
to associate with confidence.
Yeah.
And you actually become more confident.
It's like you're planting these seeds of confidence in your mind and you're nurturing them through your actions and your thoughts.
So it's not just fake it till you make it. It's more like fake it till you become it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. And they tie that concept to stoicism.
Okay.
Which I'll admit, I'm still kind of wrapping my head around stoicism.
Sure.
Can you kind of break down what that is in a nutshell?
Yeah, so think of stoicism as like a mental operating system for navigating the ups and downs of life.
Mm-hmm.
And the core principle of it is really focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't.
Okay, so I can't control if my flight gets delayed.
Exactly.
Or if that big proposal gets approved.
Right. Or what somebody else thinks about your new project.
Right, yeah.
Stoicism says getting all worked up about those things, it's like trying to push a boulder up a hill.
Yeah.
It's a lot of energy and it doesn't change anything.
It doesn't change the situation. But how do we translate that ancient philosophy into something practical for our everyday lives?
Well, the podcast host suggests identifying one worry that you can let go of and then one action that's in your control that you can focus on.
What would be an example that comes to mind for you?
Well, for me, it's often that fear of failure.
Oh.
Those thoughts that come up, what if it all goes wrong? It can be really paralyzing. But instead of dwelling on that fear, a stoic approach would be to shift that focus to my preparation.
Okay, yeah.
The effort I'm putting in.
Yeah.
And the commitment to learning from the experience, no matter what the outcome is.
That's a really powerful shift.
It is.
Instead of fixating on that outcome that you can't control, you're focusing on what you can influence.
Right.
You're putting yourself back in the driver's seat. And that kind of leads us into another big idea from the podcast: the contrast between an abundance mindset and a scarcity mindset.
Yeah, I think that's so crucial when it comes to achieving success. It's really about how you view the world, Do you see it as this place with limited resources where opportunity is scarce? Or do you see it as a place just brimming with possibilities?
Yeah, I think those are two very different ways of looking at things.
They are. And they highlighted this in the podcast by sharing some really starkly contrasting quotes. Some folks were like, all the good opportunities are gone, the world's passing me by. But then you have others looking at that same world saying, wow, we are living in a time of just unprecedented opportunity, especially with technology evolving at such a rapid pace.
It's so interesting how two people can look at the same situation and have completely different interpretations, right?
Right, and that's where the magic of mindset comes in, right? It's not necessarily about the objective reality of the opportunities available, but it's about whether you've trained your mind to spot them, to make those connections, to leverage your strengths and capitalize on them.
So it's not that the opportunities aren't there, it's just that you might not be seeing them if you have that scarcity mindset.
Yeah. Think about the rise of technology like AI, for example.
Yeah.
Someone with a scarcity mindset, they might panic.
Right.
They might, fear job losses and feel threatened.
Right.
But someone with that abundance mindset might see AI as a powerful tool to create something new, to enhance their existing skills, to solve problems in innovative ways.
It's like app development, right?
Yeah.
Like a decade ago, you needed serious coding skills to build an app. Now there's platforms and tools that make it accessible to almost anyone with a good idea.
Exactly. So the opportunities are there, but it's really your mindset that determines whether you see them as a roadblock or a springboard.
So to our listener, the question is, which mindset do you embody? Do you see the world through a lens of scarcity? Or do you embrace those possibilities of abundance? And how might shifting to that abundance mindset change how you approach challenges and opportunities in your own life?
It's such a powerful question because ultimately our mindset is a choice. It's something we can cultivate, we can strengthen it through practice.
And that's what this podcast that we're diving into today is all about. It's about emphasizing that our mindset is the foundation for success, that it shapes how we see obstacles, how we respond to setbacks, and ultimately how much we believe in our own potential.
It's the lens through which we view the world.
Yeah.
And it can either empower us to achieve amazing things or it can hold us back. And it can really make all the difference. And, speaking of those different perspectives, that kind of leads us to that last key takeaway from the podcast, the whole abundance versus scarcity mindset thing.
Yeah, that really stood out to me too. It's like, do you see the world as this limited pie where there are only so many slices to go around? Or do you believe there's, enough opportunity out there for everyone to succeed?
It's a huge shift, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they really illustrated this in the podcast by sharing these really different opinions, Some people were saying, oh, all the good opportunities are gone, or it's too late for me to achieve that now. But then others, looking at the exact same world, were so optimistic about the possibilities.
Yeah, and I love those two quotes they shared. One was like, the world is full of closed doors. And the other one was like, the world is full of open doors. You just got to find the right key.
It just shows how much our mindset can shape how we see things.
It really does. It's not even just about how many opportunities are out there objectively. It's about whether you've trained your mind to even see them in the first place, right?
Right, yeah.
Remember that app development example they gave? A few years ago, you had to be a coding genius to build an app.
Oh, yeah.
But now, with all these new platforms and tools, anyone with a decent idea and the willingness to learn can create an app, It's true. And I think that applies to so many fields now, even with the rise of AI. Some people are panicking, thinking, robots are going to take over the world. But others are seeing it as this amazing opportunity to learn new skills, to come up with, creative solutions, maybe even build whole new industries.
Exactly. It all comes down to perspective. Someone with that scarcity mindset might look at AI and go, oh no, that's going to take my job. But someone with the abundance mindset might think, okay, how can I use AI to improve my work, to solve problems I couldn't solve before, to create something brand new? It's like AI is a powerful tool, right?
Yeah.
And it's really your mindset that determines whether you use it to build something up or tear something down.
It's like, one person sees a hammer and they're like, oh, I could smash my thumb with that. And another person's like, I could build a house with this. It's the same tool, but completely different approaches.
Yeah, it's a great analogy.
So, to our listeners out there, as we kind of wrap up this section on abundance versus scarcity, I really want you to think about, which mindset do you see yourself having? Do you tend to see the world as this place full of limitations? Or do you see it as a place overflowing with possibility?
It's a powerful question because, honestly, shifting to that abundance mindset can totally change how you approach, challenges, opportunities, everything in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It can unlock a whole new level of creativity and resilience and resourcefulness.
Yeah, it's about realizing we have more power than we think. right?
Absolutely.
We can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. We can control how we interpret those events and ultimately how we choose to move forward. And I think this whole deep dive has really been about that, recognizing that power within ourselves.
It has.
We've talked about the importance of discipline,
Right.
not just in our actions, but in our thinking as well. We even talked about how positive self-deception, which sounds kind of weird, can actually be a tool for growth,
Yeah.
to help us rewrite those limiting beliefs that are holding us back. We talked about the wisdom of the Stoics, reminding ourselves to focus on what we can actually influence and then just let go of the things that we can't.
Right.
And now we've just scratched the surface on how powerful it can be to cultivate this abundance mindset, seeing the possibilities where other people might only see the roadblocks.
And I think that's a great segue into the last part of our deep dive, which is, okay, we have all these great ideas, but how do we actually put them into practice?
Yeah.
Because, it's one thing to know these things, but it's another to actually live them out.
Yeah, you're right. We gotta get into the action part. And to help with that, we want to leave you with this one last question to really think about. Remember how the podcast host kept emphasizing, taking control of your mind?
Yeah.
Like if you don't, something else will.
Someone else will.
Yeah.
Our attention is so valuable,
Yeah.
and there's so many things fighting for it.
Think about all those distractions. Social media algorithms designed to keep you scrolling, all the news that just bombards you with a negativity, and even just, that voice in your head that can sometimes make you doubt yourself and worry.
It's like we're being pulled in a million different directions all the time.
So how do we take back control? How do we create that mental space to cultivate the mindset we want, to focus on what really matters to us, and to move forward with purpose?
It's a great question.
And here's where we get really practical. Instead of just thinking about these ideas, we want you to take action. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want you to ask yourself this. What's one concrete step you can take this week to cultivate a more empowered mindset?
And don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be this huge thing or some complete life makeover, It could be as simple as taking 5 minutes every morning to meditate.
Or maybe it's committing to like a digital detox for an hour each night. Put away your phone, do something that actually feeds your mind and your soul.
Or maybe it's about, identifying one negative thought that you want to challenge and replacing it with something positive and affirming.
Whatever it is, make it something you can actually do, even with your busy schedule, right?
Right.
Because it's those small, consistent actions repeated over time that actually create lasting change. And it's important to remember, this journey of building a more empowered mindset, it's not going to happen overnight.
Oh, definitely not. It's not a sprint. It's definitely a marathon.
Yeah, there are going to be days where you feel like you're totally rocking it and days when you stumble, maybe even fall flat on your face.
Exactly. And the key is to approach the whole thing with a sense of curiosity and be kind to yourself. Like, don't beat yourself up when you have those setbacks. Instead, think of them as, valuable information, a chance to learn and adjust what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like learning an instrument, right? You're not going to be a virtuoso overnight. You got to embrace the practice, the mistakes you make along the way, and just that gradual progress.
Exactly. And that's what makes the whole journey so exciting, right?
Mhm.
We're all works in progress, always growing, always pushing our potential.
I love that. And this deep dive has really shown me that we have so much more power than we realize. Like, we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we react to it, how we think about it, and how we choose to keep going.
It's true. It's about realizing that our minds aren't just passively taking in reality, they're actually creating our experience. And the more we understand about how our minds work, the better we can use that power to shape our reality in a way that helps us reach our goals, lines up with our values, and just makes us feel good.
That's a great point. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into mindset and success, I want to thank you so much for being here with us, exploring these ideas. It's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely. It's been fun. And remember, everyone, this is just the beginning,
Yeah.
The real adventure starts now when you take these ideas and start trying them out in your own life.
I love that. And we have no doubt that you all have amazing things to share with the world, and we can't wait to see what you do with this new understanding of how powerful your mind really is.
So keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep pushing yourself to see what's possible, and most importantly, have fun while you're doing it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Got
We'll
it.
catch you in the next deep dive.